Right, so now we're going to be reading for comprehension. So July 10th, 2015, worm invasion. A strange snail-eating worm is found in North America for the first time by Dominic Lemieux. A creepy olive-brown colored flatworm from a Pacific island has been newly spotted in Florida, and it's not a welcome visitor. Scientists are worried that it could spell serious trouble for some native species here. The Platydemus manaquari, or New Guinea flatworm, is a carnivore, an animal that eats other animals. It has been known to feed on earthworms, but its preferred diet is snails. The worm's appetite is so great that scientists consider it a danger to the country's native population. In fact, the Union for Conservation of Nature lists the worm among the world's 100 most invasive species, non-native plant or animal that spreads and causes damage to the environment. It's important to remember that land snails are a major component of the entire animal diversity of North America, and a key element of the ecosystems of this region. Piera Genovesi, a senior conservation officer at the Institute for Environmental Protection and Research, told the website IFL Science. World traveling worm. It's not just American snails that are being threatened. Researchers at the Muséum National d'Histoire Naturelle in France recently found that the flatworm has been doing some serious traveling from its island home in the Pacific. Its appearance in Normandy, France, is the first record of its having been found in Europe. The flatworm is now being spotted in a total of 22 countries and territories around the world. How does a flatworm travel such long distances? With a little help from careless humans. Beginning in the 19th century, horticulturalists, environmental scientists who study plants, transported exotic plants from country to country. Flatworms hitched rides in the soil of the plants. They made new homes across the globe, including most recently in the United States. But if you see one of the slimy intruders in your backyard, don't touch it. An important practical advice is to tell people not to touch the flatworms. Jean-Louis Justine, a French scientist, told the website /Gear. Justine, an author of the recent scientific report on flatworms, says they produce toxic chemicals and might induce allergic reactions. So I've read it, and now I'm going to ask myself questions. Right? So I'm reading to understand the topic and the genre. What type of text? Well, we're obviously reading informational text, right? What is the text about? Well, it's about the New Guinea flatworm. Telling me that's what this article about. It's a New Guinea flatworm, and it's an invasive species. If your teacher were to come up and ask you, what is this article about? I, as a student, would say, this article is about an invasive species of flatworm that is causing damage to the countries that it invades. I should be able to answer those questions. What does it say? What words are essential to the meaning or message of the text? Well, in this case, invasive species, I think, is a big part of it, right? That's almost sums up everything about this article. It's invasive, it's not good. A non-native plant or animal that spreads and causes damage to the environment. It's really what this whole thing, it's what ties this whole article together. So this flatworm isn't being nice. It's not playing fair. It's got an unfair advantage somehow. It's able to overcome our friendly little snails. So that's reading for comprehension. Now we're going to read for deeper meaning analysis. Use your prompt or performance task to guide how you reread the text. What are the claims or main ideas of the text? Well, it's an invasive species, right? How are those ideas supported? Well, it's appeared in France and 22 other countries, right? How is the text organized, or how do the ideas unfold from beginning to end? What is the speaker or writer's point of view and purpose for writing the text? Well, I think his purpose is to tell us that this thing is not good for us. He cares about what's going on in the environment. That seems what his message is. Authors have a point of view. Is the information credible and reliable? Well, yes, because he mentions several experts, right? Jean-Louis Justin, a French scientist, right? Researchers at the Muséum National d'Histoire Naturelle in France. Piero Genovese, a senior conservation officer of the Institute for Environmental Protection and Research. So these are people, actual scientists. They're not just, anybody telling us. They have first-hand knowledge of what's going on and why it's bad. Right? So those are things I want to look for. Those are the questions I want to ask myself. And you, of course, will be able to download the guide. Okay? Now the next thing I'm going to do, once we finish that, is we're going to organize and cite important information. So I'm going to prepare for that. Right? I'm organized and cite important for. So how am I going to prepare for that? Because first of all, I'm going to number my paragraphs. I'm going to number my paragraphs. So this is paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, paragraph 5. Oops, I want to use that one. Make it legible. Paragraph 6. Even though this is just one sentence, it kind of stands out, right? But if you see one of the slime intruders, don't touch it. Oh. Why? Well, the next paragraph answers the question, right? They produce toxins, right? That can cause an allergic reaction. So those are my 8 paragraphs. Right? Now that I'm done numbering my paragraphs, I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to find where the main ideas are. And I'm going to get my highlighter and I'm going to choose a specific color. I think I'm going to choose, and you can choose whatever color you want when you're annotating your text. Right? There's that word again. Talk about annotation, right? It's yellow. Maybe I want green. Oh, doesn't seem to want to let me choose here. There's green. Whichever color you want. Okay. A creepy olive brown colored flatworm from Pacific Island has been spreading. It is not a welcome visitor. Scientists are worried that it could spell serious trouble. So this is kind of like my introduction. And I can just do a simple like little note up here. This is the introduction. The introduction serves to catch our attention. Right? That's what it's doing. Introduction. That's what this the creepy. And it's so go back to my highlighter. Right? The platydermis is a carnivore, right? It has been known to feed on earthworms, but its preferred diet is snails. The worm's appetite is so great that scientists consider it a danger to the country's native snail population. That's pretty close. So it is a danger to the country's native snail population. And why is it a danger? So I'm going to use yellow for my details, right? The appetite is so great that scientists consider it a danger, right? And what's the name of it? The Platypus monoquari or New Guinea flatworm, right? It's a carnivore animal that eats. It's known as to feed on earthworms. In fact, the Union for Conservation lists the worm among the world's 100 most invasive species. So it's an invasive species. That goes along with the main idea. It's an invasive species, a non-native plant or animal. Kind of restating it, right? That's my main idea. It's important to know that snails are a major component of the entire animal diversity of North America and a key element of the ecosystem of this region. So he's giving us that idea, he's supporting that idea that our native species are a major component. So land snails are a major component of the entire animal diversity of North America. We need them. They help keep the ecosystem in balance. So world traveling worms. So there's a transition here, right? First we're talking about why it's bad, right? It's killing the native population of snails. Okay. Now we're going to, well, how is it becoming a problem? Well, it's a world traveling worm, right? So it's not just American snails that are being threatened. Researchers from the Museum of History and Natural recently found the worm. Has been doing some research show. So its appearance in Normandy, France, is the first record. The flatworm. It's probably the flatworm is. Oops, gonna use my green. The flatworm. Huh. So I want to let me change. Oh, why don't you pick up? I'm going to do this. Go back. There we go. Alright. The flatworm is now spotted in 22 countries and territories around the world. Right? So, horticulturalists, environmentalists who study plants, transported exotic plants from country to country. Flatworms hitch rides in the soil of the plants. So that's how they got around. So another idea, kind of like it's kind of like a G wizard. Don't touch it. You produce toxic chemicals. And who said that? So I might just underline the important people in this article. Right? The people. So Jean-Louis Christine, right? Who else? Museum de Naturel researchers in France. Pierre Genevieve, a senior conservation officer. So I'm just underlining the important people. So like, who said it? It's kind of important, right? The Union for Conservation of Nature. It's the one that listed as the most damaging, right? So there we are. So I've gone through and I've made my annotations here.